Hey, Will,
Hey, Neve.
are you? You good?
I'm good. Yeah, doing well. Doing well,
Cool.
thanks. Doing well.
Just checking if I can share my screen, if it's working like it should be. Yeah, you can see my screen.
Okay.
Cool. Perfect.
All right, fantastic. Well, hello to everyone that's joining so far. I'll just get going in a few moments. This is the awkward time padding period of a webinar.
Yeah, always. Some people put the elevator music in the background. We don't have to do it. Hi,
Okay, no, I didn't have any prepared. Sorry, Neve.
that's okay. We can do it a cappella. I don't know how you're. No, never mind. Sorry. I actually did see I was in a webinar once, but they started like actually live. They brought a guitar in, they started singing as a filler, which was quite cool.
Wow. Okay.
But maybe as a filler, as people
I'm a
are
man of many talents, but I do have my limitations.
yeah,
And
thanks. I'm a guitar player. Well, I know that Will knows quite a lot of people that are here on the call. I don't. Hi
yeah,
there,
yeah,
everybody. If you could maybe just put in the chat as we're filling out where you're dialing in from in the UK or outside. I'd love to understand. I'm in Stockholm, Sweden, but it would be really cool to understand where everybody's based here. Nice. West Yorkshire,
exactly.
nice. TSG, Midlands, Northeast.
We'll see all over the country. We'll
Yeah.
also see people knocking on my door as we go through this.
Okay, nice. Yeah, Surrey, Glasgow, Yorkshire, Nottingham, Huntingdon. Very nice. I know about 80% of those locations or regions.
Yeah, right.
To be very honest, I don't know everything. Right? I don't.
Well, we just working on a new page of our website, Yaniv, and with Google Maps, you can import a spreadsheet of postcodes.
Oh, really?
It's created a map of where all the various clients that we work with are in the UK, and it's all over the place.
Cool.
Particularly since the pandemic and lockdown and doing everything via Zoom.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that's cool. I didn't know that function existed. That's nice.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I saw it on River Pools and Spas, Marcus Sheridan's company. Yeah, so in an old iteration of his website, he had this great Google Maps of all the swimming pools they'd installed. It's just a great bit of social proof.
It is.
To show you. So
that's a really smart idea. You should extrapolate that further. I saw a startup that was trying to create kind of this Airbnb for pools.
Right.
The same motion, because a lot of pools are basically bought and then very underutilized. So essentially create this whole network where you can rent out your pools to people who want it for a couple hours in the day if you're not using it yourself. I thought it was quite genius.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, we don't have that much in the UK.
Yeah, in the UK you don't have it. Wait, forget about it. Yeah, you have a pool maybe to make an ice rink or something like that, but you don't actually have pools.
Exactly.
Very good. I think are we almost complete, or are we still waiting for?
I think probably people will still kind of shuffle in as we go along, but let's get going. Yaniv, let me just introduce you properly, Yaniv, to everyone, because I've probably known you a couple of years now, I think. So Yaniv has a very important senior role at Vidyard. I can't remember what your actual title is, but we at JDR, as you watching this, you will have no doubt seen Vidyard videos from me and from other people within the JDR team, and you'll know that we use Vidyard for our videos on our website, in our academy. You probably saw the video we put on the landing page for this for today's session, and so we've been working with Vidyard since about 2014, something like that. So about 8 years now, but started working really closely with Yaniv a couple of years ago. And Vidyard is now a really core part of how we operate and communicate as a business. And what we're hoping to do in this sessions, I know that we've got people here that are coming to video at all kinds of different levels. I know I've got a couple of people that have actually sent out, have got Vidyard accounts and have sent videos out and are actively using it. Some people who've probably never heard of Vidyard. So yeah, wherever you're coming to it, what we're hoping to do in this session is show how video can help your business. And there's all kinds, we've found all kinds of uses for video, from internal communication to customer service, but probably, we're a marketing agency, so obviously we use it in marketing, but probably the biggest use case we've seen and the biggest impact that you can have with video is by using it in the sales process. And what we want to do is in today's session, give you some ideas and inspiration about how you can use video in your own businesses. So keep an open mind, and feel free to use the chat to ask questions as we go along. Yaniv, I'll try and interrupt you where I can if I spot questions or feedback or whatever. So yeah, over to you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for that intro. Hi, everybody. Really nice to meet you. I'm Yaniv. As mentioned, I'm dialing in from Sweden. But as Will mentioned, I've been working with the JDR Group for, I think, around 2 years right now. I head up our sales and partnership efforts for EMEA in Vidyard. And the reason really for the conversation today is to start inspiring you to think about how and where you can use video within the business, as Will was saying. And specifically, I want to hone into, like Will was saying, how and where we can use video in our sales process and in client communication, right? And how we can use that to, one, help sell more, engage clients in a more human and effective way. And also, because it's still, if you look at the bell curve of adoption of this type of video, what we're going to be talking about, it's very, very novel. Right, in the UK and in Europe in general, it really becomes a differentiating factor compared to your competitors when you're going to be using video as well. So the whole idea really is to start thinking, helping you and inspire how and where you can start using video within your organization. And hopefully some of you will take away to do more with video, or people that are new completely to it will give it a go to start working on videos. Okay, so just to preface the videos that I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to give an agenda in a moment. I'm specifically talking about a specific a type of video which is called asynchronous video. Now, I have a slide about that later, but it's videos like Will was saying, right? He sends videos to a lot of you, right, that you watch at a different point in time, on demand videos, essentially, right? Either for sales, for onboarding, for explanations, whatever it is. That's the type of videos that we're going to be talking about today. We're not going to be talking about synchronous videos like what we're doing right now, which is a live webinar. That's on itself a great use case for video, but we're talking about asynchronous video. Okay, so let's get started. Agenda for today: why video in not just sales, but in client engagement, how to use video. Then we're going to go and show you how and where in the sales process you can use it, and also in the client communication. And then I'll also show you how you can get started in 3 easy clicks. Some of you will be familiar with this, other won't be, but I want to show you how easy it is to actually get started with something like that. And then we'll leave it in the end for Q&A. But as Will was also already saying, we can answer any questions throughout the conversation. Okay. So before I start with the why, just wanted to put a question to everybody in the group, which is, have you ever received a personal video from a salesperson? And don't count Will or anybody at JDR Group, because you would have, right? So not from JDR Group, but from any other person. Have you ever received it? Yes or no? If you can just type it in the chat, so I can understand a little bit if this is novel or if people already have some familiarity with it. Okay, Matthew saying yes from a car dealer.
Car dealer, wow.
That's cool. We see that use case. Andrew is saying yes. Maybe Andrew, you can say what kind of video that was, if you remember. Jackie is also saying yes. Would be cool to understand what kind of video that was. Then a lot of no's, but there's a couple of yeses here as well. So it would be cool. Chris is also saying yes. We'll be curious to hear if you can type in the chat what kind of video that was, Chris. Okay, Andrea saying yes, cars and holidays. Dean saying yes, car dealer, fantastic.
Wow.
Car dealer as well. Was from a
What
makeup company. Okay.
what's remarkable is, I think 2 years ago, I think it would have been universally no.
Correct. So that's where we see it has moved up on the bell curve of adoption, but it's still very much early stages. Again, a lot of car dealerships.
There's a lot of car dealers, right? Okay.
Who bought the car based on that video?
That's-
I'm curious about that.
All right. That gives you some good intel for some sector targeting there, you need.
Yeah, definitely. And we do a bunch. We have a vertical for car dealerships.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
That's really great. Now let's put it on the flip side and ask everybody here, have you ever sent a personal video to a prospect or customer? Again, yes or no. And if you can add to it, if you have a yes, what type of video that was would be very interesting. Okay, so here we get, I guess, a bit more no's. Right? No, I don't think I've seen a yes yet. Right, so some of you have.
Some of you, I know some of you here. Okay,
Richard just said with a pitch doc, very nice. Okay.
WhatsApp, right? Okay.
As a WhatsApp, okay, very cool, makes sense.
Good, well done, Chris.
Matthew, not thought about it yet. Fair enough. That's why we're here, to inspire you to start thinking about it. Chris is saying yes, introducing a CPD session. Yeah, nice. Lauren saying, yeah, presentation follow-up. Andrew, not yet. Yes, illustrating a machine. Love that example as well. So some of you, again, have already done something with this, which I think is fantastic. And some of the use cases are really good, right? Illustrating a machine, a product, or a service, right? Some of them have done it to do a presentation follow-up, some of it to send out with a proposal, okay? So we'll definitely touch upon those use cases as well, okay? Before we do, especially for the people that have said no, and this is really new for them, I want to first always answer the first question, which is why? Why use video? And especially now in the world, in the business world that we're all living in, okay? So stat number one, and this is a macro trend, right? So Cisco does a study each couple of years where they look at the amount of internet traffic, how much of that internet traffic is video or visual traffic. So by the end of this year, 82% of all internet traffic will be video. So we already know that that's true. A lot of it is personal video consumption, right? YouTube, Netflix, Disney Channel, but Instagram stories, but we also start seeing it a little bit more coming into business, but that's where there is still a gap. But what's very important to understand it is because we're all watching video in our personal space, that means that so do our prospects and so do our customers, right? So what that means is our customers are primed to consume and receive video, right? We actually have a stat that about 67% of all learners are actually visual learners as well, okay? So if we don't use visual content in the way we communicate them in the business sense, we're actually missing out on all that group that likes to educate and learn with visual content. So because we have so much video content, right? We know on the business side, if we do an analysis, a lot of the communication that we still do with our prospects and customers is text-based, right? So there's a huge gap between the way that we want to consume content, which is visual, and the way we actually communicate with our prospects and customers, which is still overwhelmingly text-based. And that's where video is going to slot in and help, and we're going to look at what that looks like, okay? Then secondly, video can be used to solve one of the main challenges in the sales process, okay? So we're going to talk about a bunch of use cases, but a use case that is probably the most common use case that we're seeing where video is being used in the sales process, it's specifically to try to get in touch with potential buyers, okay? HubSpot does a study each year, State of Inbound. The most challenging part of the sales process, it's always number one, it's hard to get in touch and connect with prospects, especially if they've never heard of your business, right? I'm not talking about referrals, talking about people that have never heard of you. That's why you're doing marketing, right? These people, it's very difficult to get in touch with. And the reality is, it's because decision makers, some of you here on the call are also owners, decision makers, leaders, right? They receive anywhere between 50 and 100 prospecting messages a week, okay? And we've done a further analysis where we looked together with HubSpot. I know a lot of you are using HubSpot as well. HubSpot did an analysis from the start of COVID all the way up until now that you can see here in the graph on the right side. And where my mouse is hovering right now, that was March 2020. That's where all the lockdowns started. At that point, the amount of sales emails, actually, started going up exponentially, started going up. At the same time, you see the orange line, which is response rates. So response rates have gone down. So if we fast forward that to February and March 2022, where we are right now, we're in April, it's the highest amount of sales emails being sent benchmarked to pre-COVID, and it's one of the lowest response rates that we've ever received in that same time frame. So that proves again the point, tougher than ever to connect with people, okay? And the second thing that we're also seeing as a stat and an issue is that, especially this is in B2B. So if you're in B2C, we don't have that data here to share, but in the B2B industry, Trust Radius, they do reviews and analysis. Most B2B organizations say that sales processes have gotten longer and longer. Also because of the lack of always being able to see each other face to face and move things forward, right? But we see that their sales cycles are taking longer. So one, it's difficult to get in touch with people, and two, sales cycles are getting longer, okay? And the reality is that a lot of the sales that we're doing, of course, we're sometimes meeting people face to face, but to most potential buyers, we're all looking like what you're seeing here below on the screen. Yeah, this is what most sellers look like to buyers, right? Here's another example, an email. Hi, George, I just tried to call you. I'm reaching out to you, and there's, that generic email. Think about the last time you ever responded to a prospecting email like that, or to a sales email from anybody. Or think about the last time you ever purchased a product or a service from anybody that reached out to you in that way. This typically goes straight to trash. And that's where video is going to be a differentiator and slot in. And that's what we're going to be talking about right now. Okay, so how to use video. First of all, again, I want to emphasize that there's a two-pronged approach to video. There's synchronous, which is Zoom. We're going to be focusing on asynchronous video. Okay, so what we're going to start with is, which of these emails that we're seeing in the screen right now catches your eye more? Right, that's a bit of a rhetorical question, obviously, because on the left side, what we're seeing is a generic text email that everybody's getting and that you're receiving hundreds of each day. And on the right side is somebody with a beer saying cheers with a sign that says, "Hi, Rebecca." Right? Now let's look at the same thing, but then from LinkedIn. Which one of these LinkedIn messages catches your eye? Right? A video with a smiling Talita, she's in my team, or we all know those dreaded messages on LinkedIn, right? Where we accept somebody on LinkedIn, we think, hey, yeah, that's going to be a good connection. And then 2 minutes later, you get the pitch, right? You get the pitch. Yeah, you get the whole thing, right? So those never get answered, but very few of us will ever have received a LinkedIn, actually a video smiling person in your LinkedIn inbox. So why this works so effectively is because why the power of video in sales, it's one, it gets the attention of prospects and buyers. It stands out in a sea of text and it matches the way people want to consume content, which is increasingly visual, okay? The second component is it immediately establishes reports and builds personal relationships, right? You're not just a name in an email signature. You're an actual human, right? From a calling or making that video from their office or from their home, right? And it immediately creates that motion of, oh, that's another person who's speaking to me directly, compared to an email where you're just another person, right? Three, showing often clearly, you get value across easier if you can show and also put emphasis on what you're looking to sell or to position compared to text, right? People can misinterpret text or not understand it. With voice and with video, we can actually emphasize what the value is that you're looking to position, and it allows you to stay top of mind. I'm sure that Will has had people that he has had communication with 6 months ago, maybe then they didn't speak again, but then they might remember him 6 months later because he sent that video 6 months ago and he was that memorable person that did that, compared to all the other people that have never done that.
Yeah, I'll sometimes have meetings with people and they will start by saying, "Oh yeah, we've been watching your videos. I feel like I know you already."
There you go, right? And that's such a great story, right? You're immediately, somebody feels connected to you, right?
Yeah, and the other thing, so there's been a couple of examples. Gordon's example of showing a machine, you can do things with video that you can't easily do in a text email. You can actually, you can show your screen, show a document, show some software, show a presentation, or actually physically show something on screen in a way that you really can't in just text only.
Exactly that. And we're going to tackle on how to do that effectively and how to also be effective on camera a little bit later in the presentation as well. So what I want to do now is for the people that are completely like unclear, like, hey, what is this actually, this video, what we're looking at? So I want to just play an example. I won't play the whole video example, but I want to play one example so you can get a little bit of a feel. This is specifically when I'm reaching out to somebody that has never heard of me. I'm going to show you other examples a bit further down the line, but I just want to give people a feeling of what that looks like. Okay.
Hey Kip, how are you doing? It's Yaniv here, Vidyard. Hope all is well with you in Boston. I'm on your LinkedIn profile here, and I thought, hey, let me also do something a bit different, show my face. Hope you can appreciate it, and also hope all is well at HubSpot and that you got through these last couple months all right. Reason for the reach out is I'm on your LinkedIn profile and I was just scrolling through. Obviously, you're the CMO of HubSpot right now, but I saw that you had a lot of other marketing roles, specifically around demand generation, which then prompted me to look on the HubSpot website. It's a beautiful website. I did notice, however, while scrolling through it, that you're not using any video on your website. And basically, if we're benchmarking that to some of your direct competitors like Salesforce and Marketo, they're using a lot of video on their homepage to help.
Right. So then we go into our value proposition, right? Which is sell video. Obviously, in your situation, it will be your product, your service, your machines, right? Whatever it is that you're selling and how that can solve a specific challenge or a problem or enable to do processes better. Right. And then in the end, the whole objective of that video is to say, like, look, if you want to have a chat, my calendar is going to pop up. Why don't you?
And it will be my pleasure to get to know you as well. For now, I wish you a great day over there in Boston. Cheers from Dublin, Ireland, and hopefully be in touch soon. Bye-bye.
Right. So I say, actually, in the end of the video, I say, hey, if this sounds interesting to us, hey, my calendar is my HubSpot calendar, right? Some of you will be familiar with this tool. Here it pops up. Why don't we have a quick chat and I can show you, or I can tell you, or we can have start a conversation. Okay, so
anyone that isn't, this functionality is in all HubSpot portals that you can sync up your calendar and allow people to book in meetings with you.
It's good that you're clarifying that. So that's a calendar tool, and the reason why a calendar tool is so effective, and I know a lot of you will know this, right? Sometimes you want to meet a client or a prospect, and then they'll say, "Can you do 2 p.m. on Monday?" They'll say, "No, I can't do. Can you do this?" And you don't, and you suddenly have a thread of 6 emails to just get a time that works. So instead, you can just sync up your calendar with open slots. You can predetermine which slots they are, right? And then just send it. Hey, here's my calendar. Have a look at what suits for you, and you can let them slot in, create efficiencies. And then you can combine that with a video. Say, hey, if you found that interesting, let's book a conversation. Or if it's an existing customer, you can explain something, right? Or show them how to solve something and say, hey, if you have any further questions, feel free to always book time with me. Here's my calendar, and we can have a conversation with each other. So you're humanizing it, and then you're also giving a very easy way for your existing client or your prospect to actually book time with you if they need it, right? Or if they would like to. Okay. So beyond, some of you, I know some people that are completely new to this, they're like, oh yeah, I think it's a bit creepy that's on my LinkedIn profile. So I get that sometimes. Fair enough, right? You don't have to be on someone's LinkedIn profile. I'm on someone's LinkedIn profile because typically we see that works best because it's very personal, right? If I get this in my inbox and somebody's on my profile, that sparks curiosity. You're going to be like, hey, I'm going to click on this, right? Well, what does that person have to say? They're on my profile. That's why it works really well. But for people that feel uncomfortable with it, that's fine. You can also be on someone's website, right? Or you can even present your own presentation. Ideally, we do something that the prospect recognizes. But the most important thing is that you humanize the process, right? You do something that's unique and stands out, right?
The example you showed earlier, Yaniv, someone had a sign with their person's name on the sign.
Yeah.
So we had one, actually, one of the few we've had, where someone had held up a sign with my name and Dave's name. And it was like, Dave. And that was the thumbnail. So obviously we clicked on to see what you had to say.
100%. And also I know that you do it all over the place, right? So your website, when we talk about your sales training, I mean, like, this is Will saying, watch me. People better click on that and watch it, right? There's a ton of that's what working, right? So I'm very curious, right? Because for some of you who said, yeah, this is something I already do. A lot of you said, no, I've never done this, or I've never received it. We'd love to hear maybe in a sentence or two on the chat, what were your thoughts on the video, excuse me, that I just showed you? What are your thoughts on if you were to receive a video like that, or if you would send out a video like that? And you can say if you liked it, or if there were concerns that you have around, that's completely fine as well, because we can address those and as well. So just type in maybe in a sentence or two what your thoughts were on the video that I just played for everybody. Okay, so Jackie's saying, I think it appears more of a personal approach, right? Therefore, you are more likely to engage. That's exactly the crux of what we're trying to do, right? I think it would trigger a response for sure. Nick is saying, looks like it's an interesting way to grab customer attention. Katie is saying, find it a bit hard sell, but can see how effective it is when it comes from a sales team. Fair enough, right? It's not for everybody. Some people might be like, hey, what is this? But Katie, think about it and compare that to that generic prospecting email that you're getting from someone. And you're like, oh, after one sentence, right? You're like, okay, delete. Or somebody actually putting a sign up saying, hey, Katie made you a short video, right? And that's why you also rightfully identified that for salespeople, this works really well.
In Katie's business, they're predominantly dealing with inbound inquiries that are coming to them rather than sending anything.
Yeah, so on this, and we're going to touch upon this right now, actually, because I want to talk to you about how and where in the sales process this works. But let's just look at a couple more responses. Like the concept, does it impact on the space storage on the server? That's a good question. So the videos that you actually send via email are not actually the whole file of the video. I think that's what you mean when you send out like this in an email. Right, when you actually click on this video, it brings you to a different page. We call that a branded sharing page, where the video is actually being consumed. And we do it for two reasons. One, because we don't want videos to get caught in spam filters, right? Because otherwise you have to send the whole video file to have it play in the email. And secondly, because we can then also track and understand who are watching those videos and how much are they watching of those videos as well. Okay, it's a good question.
Yeah, all it is just an image in your,
correct.
It's an animated image within your email. That's all it is.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Trish is saying it would be really useful when responding to customer questions. Yeah, exactly. Something that was taken offline. It humanizes the approach. So
and being able to show, Trish provides software solutions. So being able to show particular tools and demo how to do certain things is really useful in any kind of software or SaaS type application.
So that's what we're going to be looking at right now. We're going to look at the variety of use cases that you can use, not just because we looked at an introduction to a prospect, right? But I want to talk about the breadth of options that you have where you can use video, specifically within sales, but then I'll also take it a bit broader as well. Okay.
You probably touch on this, Yaniv, so I don't want to jump the gun, but there's a lot of people on this meeting that get leads from people downloading ebooks, guides, particularly anyone that's running LinkedIn ads. And it's notoriously challenging to then actually get a response from those leads and actually connect and get a conversation going. And I see regularly people just sending a one-off email that's text-based and not getting a response. Whereas where you're able to add personalized video to those messages, you'd actually get a better response from the inbound leads that are coming in.
Let me do this. I'm adding here a video example. I'll play it in line here, where the example is not just cold, but to your point, right? ADR group, right? They're specialists in inbound marketing, right? So a lot of them, what they will be doing is generating traffic and leads to you as clients, right? What tends then to happen though is that the follow-up with those leads is, again, similar. Everybody's doing the same thing, right? We'll all do maybe a call, or maybe we'll do that standard email follow-up. Think about the amount of people in your industry who are actually sending out a personalized video. Think about what impact that has on that prospect who downloaded an ebook. That person that downloaded an ebook maybe doesn't want to have immediately a sales conversation, right? But that person that downloads an ebook and then receives a personal video from somebody in the company saying, hey, I saw you downloaded that ebook and here's reason ABC why we should have a conversation with each other. That is a complete game changer compared to, Oh yes, how you download the ebook and you just do the same thing that all others are doing as well. So I'll show you an example of what it looks like with an inbound lead, when a lead has come in, and how you can actually go about doing that as well. Give me 1 second. I hope I have the video file here. If not, yeah.
Hi, Hannah. Good morning. How are you doing? It's Yaniv here, Vidyard. Hope all is well with you in Amsterdam and that the Digital Marketing World Forum kicked off really nicely for you. Reason for the video is I noticed that you downloaded Vidyard's ebook on video marketing for events. That's what prompted me to be on your LinkedIn profile and also show my face. Hope you can appreciate that. I scrolled through the profile. I saw you're the head of marketing at DMWF. Which then prompted me also to have a look on the DMWF website. I noticed there it's a beautiful website where you're talking about the event. I did notice, however, you're not using any video on the website itself, which I imagine might be a reason why you downloaded our ebook in the first place. That's why I'm reaching out. I'd love to show you and give you some benchmarks of other events and conferences that we work with that use a ton of videos to drive more attendees and interest. I have a lot of data there, so my calendar will pop up in the end of the video. Find some time, 10-15 minutes. Will be my pleasure to get to know you, share some ideas, and then see if that's worthwhile for us to continue a conversation. For now, have a great day, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye-bye.
Right. Same recipe, right? Same concept. It's not very different from what I showed before, but the concept here is that I'm connecting an action that prospect has taken, in this case being an ebook download, to then a very human approach to say, like, look, you downloaded that ebook. If you're in heavy machinery, right? Somebody was giving an example. If somebody downloads a white paper or an ebook or registers for a webinar regarding that heavy machinery, probably in a B2B space, right? They do that with some level of intent, right? Typically, it's not a hobby most of the time. So for some it is, right? No disrespect, by the way. But that means that if somebody downloads that ebook, if you then can come in and say, hey, you downloaded this white paper about machinery X, right? That typically means that you're looking to streamline your process in your factory, whatever the machines are that you're selling. How about we get in touch for 5 or 10 minutes so I can understand what you're currently doing, what kind of machinery you currently have, and highlight the benefits of potentially looking at these machines and how that can help you in your bottom line. Just giving an example. Okay, that is completely different than, oh yeah, I saw you download it and here's an email. Okay, so let's go into some other use cases, because now we really looked at prospecting. Okay, I do want to highlight a couple things on stats regarding why you should consider that if you're thinking, I don't know if I should do it. But first of all, we see SalesLoft is a partner of ours as well. They analyzed 2 million emails. Okay, and they looked at which ones have video versus which one don't. On average, over those 2 videos, 26% increase in response rates over videos, over emails that have video in them, both for prospecting as well as follow-up. Secondly, there's a way higher click-through on those videos, right? So the average amount of clicks on those videos is way higher than any other type of content in those emails. And thirdly, and that's really, again, I'm bringing HubSpot as a case study, it drives way more meetings. So HubSpot themselves, right, their sales organization, and I helped that HubSpot roll that out because I worked at HubSpot prior to Vidyard. They booked 4 times more meetings with video than any other activity that they would do to generate sales. So you can see here on the right, other activity to meeting, 1.5%. And then video to meeting was a 6% conversion. And that's in the end why we're doing it. It's not just for responses. We're actually getting more initial sales conversations with people because of it. That's why we're doing it. Okay. I'll jump. There's a use case here that's you can also send confirmation reminders, right? When people book a meeting, hey, looking forward to see you. It actually what we call reduces the no-show rate for people not showing up on Zoom calls, which tends to happen. Sorry, Will,
I was just going to add, I know of an estate agency business, and they get appointments to go around and value someone's home. And they'll send a personalized video message before they go out for that appointment, so that by the time that person opens the door, they've already seen the face, they know who's coming to see them, what's going to happen on the appointment. And it helps with the rapport and trust that much more. It's just an extra step that helps in their particular process.
Love that example. Love that example. Again, the familiarity and the trust and relationship building aspect of it is so key here, right? Another use case, right? Because we looked at prospecting in the sales process. Now we can look at mid-sale. So you already are in conversation with a client, right? They came to you or whatever it is, referral, inbound, whatever it is, you're in conversation with that client. There's a bunch of use cases, but I want to highlight two main use cases. One, answering questions after you maybe had that initial demo or that initial conversations, right? Sometimes people will want to know, well, what about feature X, or what about your terms regarding servicing, or what about software Y, for example. The last thing that we want is constantly have to jump on new conversations to just answer some of those questions. Those are the things that end up prolonging a sales cycle, because in order to answer some of those questions, you need to meet them again, for example. Right? So what video does so well is you can just send a quick video that answers all of the technical questions, or in a software example, does a mini demo of the integration question that was asked about, or the features that are part of a specific package, or in terms of the machinery, what the differences are between machine A and B, right? So you can make a quick video and then say, hey, let's have a further conversation. So you're educating a person further on their time without the need to constantly try to book another meeting to just get that message across. So what that ends up doing is it ends up shortening sales cycles. So we have customers, and Media Valet is one of them. Their sales cycles have shortened from 128 to 68 days by using asynchronous demo follow-up videos, because they didn't constantly have to bring all the stakeholders in. Then that person is on holiday, that person has other priorities, etc. They just made a video, shared it with all the stakeholders, then also got the analytics where they could see, hey, who's watching all those videos, so they know that the content is being consumed. Now they can progress the deal forward faster. So we can shorten sales cycles by creating asynchronous video moments.
I could jump in. So while you're in conversations with someone, maybe you had an initial meeting or they've sent you an initial inquiry. So the use case, or the example there was in software where you might show them something on screen. But Vidyard has got a mobile app that you can use to record video on your phone. So I'm thinking of Matthew, who's on this call. When we started working with Matthew, who's a manufacturing business, did a video walkthrough on his phone through the factory to help show us what they did. And again, that could be very, very useful if you're in manufacturing and you've had let's say it's a really big quote request has come in. You might want to record a really short video to say, thanks so much, we're working on it, we'll be getting back to you with your quote soon. Let me just give you a really quick 5-minute tour of our facilities here so you get an idea of what our capabilities are.
That it's fantastic. It just humanizes it. And think about in your industry, in manufacturing, who does that? No one. And then you can say, well, maybe then I shouldn't do it as well. Or you can choose to be a first mover, right, in your industry, where you are immediately setting yourself apart, right, and essentially are doing something that a lot of your buyers will crave, which is visual content, right? Because that's what they're doing day in, day out, and that's going to continue to happen, right, throughout various industries, verticals, and also generations. Okay. I see here James is saying, is there a record of the video after it's sent so that if there is a question as to what was sent, can be verified? I'm not sure what you mean exactly, James.
There is. It's so obviously you'll have the email in your sent items,
yeah.
And within your Vidyard, you'll have to send these types of videos with Vidyard, you have a Vidyard account, and every video you record gets uploaded to the account together with
correct
details of who's watched it and when, right?
That's exactly right. And not to get too much on the software side from Vidyard, but you get exactly that, right? You get all the videos that you've sent, how many people have watched it, how much time on average they watched it, where in the world, what kind of device, what kind of browser. You get all that kind of data. So Vidyard hosts all your video content, so you can see exactly how it's being consumed and where it's being consumed. Okay.
But back onto use cases quickly. So Simon's on the call, who runs an accountancy business, and so you might deal with an initial inquiry with someone who at the end of the call says, well, I'm speaking to 2 or 3 others, you've given me a good idea, I'll come back to you, or something like that. And recording a short video follow-up where perhaps one of their key issues was the reporting they've got from their existing accountant, and you can show some examples of the types of reporting that you do for your clients. and send that as a personalized video follow-up. It would just help convert from the inquiries that you're already getting.
100%. And to that point, right, there's a lot of people that will come in, right, and might go, especially also last time that I was looking for an accountant, right? You do a search, right? Accountant in your area, you go after 3 or 4, you do 3 or 4 requests, and typically the first one that answers, that's the one you not always you go with, but often, right? None of them would send a video. So what you can do now is, again, you can do a video to one, stand out. And secondly, if there was a proposal request also after you had that initial meeting, that brings me to the second use case here, is to send a video with those proposals or with those contracts. So this is Talita, she's in my team, all people in my team, but also in our customers. It's actually the second most common use case after the introduction or prospecting use case, is to send out videos with your proposals or with your contracts or even with your RFPs. And again, we're humanizing the process, but not only that, we're also ensuring that you keep a bit more control in the sales process, because sometimes, so in accountancy, maybe it's a bit more I don't know if it's B2B or B2C accountancy, but if it's B2C, right, you'll typically deal with the end decision maker, right, the end person who will purchase or not. In many B2B scenarios, a lot of us are not dealing with always with all stakeholders that need to make an evaluation. Right? You might have a champion, you might have a part of a decision-making unit, but you might not have access to the CFO of the organization who needs to sign off on budget, for example. Okay, so in the past, what a lot of you will do, right, and that's what we see, is a lot of you will maybe do a presentation and then send a PDF or a PowerPoint, and then send that to the champion or maybe to some of the decision makers, and then fingers crossed, right, that they take that PDF or that PowerPoint, and that on Monday morning, when they have the board meeting around budgets, that your champion is able to sell that PDF effectively to the team.
Just as an example, so Derek is on the call, who runs a commercial flooring contracting business. Nice. So Derek, I can imagine you go to an appointment to look around someone's office, and you'll be meeting, I don't know, maybe an office manager. You get all the details, you then send him or her a quote, and they then present it to other decision makers within the business. And what it boils down to is, well, how much does it cost? And there's all the value and the extra difference in the materials that you were going to choose, how you were going to go about fitting their particular tricky setup, gets lost. It just comes down to, well, these guys are X amount and these people are X amount, and they only end up choosing on price. So a short video to explain why you've put what you've put into the proposal, maybe even to show the samples on the video. It would help you really stand out, and you know that can lead to X number of extra jobs every single year.
For sure. We actually, talking about numbers here, because you said X number of jobs, we actually did an analysis with Proposify. Proposify is a online proposal tool, okay? They also analyzed a couple 100,000 proposals, and they looked at proposals that don't have a video included and a proposal that do have a video included in it. Proposals with a video included close 41% higher, which is a whopping number. Wow. So let's put that in perspective, right? So that people don't think, oh, I close 41% of my proposals. If your close rate, so for every 10 proposals you send out, you close 1 proposal at the moment, you have a 10% close rate. So if we increase by 41%, essentially your close rate will become 14.1% instead of 10%. But over time, obviously, that is a huge impact.
Yeah, in terms of if you turn that into pounds, shillings, and pence over the course of the year, it can be really major.
For sure, and to Will's point, right? You're regaining control over the conversation that happens beyond closed doors, because you can say to your champion, office manager in this case, show this to the board, and then you get the notifications where you see, hey, the people are actually watching those videos. So you know that now you have had control because you can convey the value instead of, just going on price, because the CFO just goes to the final page and sees the pricing, right? I think there was a question before we move into some other use cases here.
Yeah,
Richard,
I'm just going to flag that up.
Yeah, Richard was asking, for prospecting, do you feel you need to personalize every video? It depends on the use case, right? So if you're dealing in a sales process with a client, so sending out a proposal or doing a demo specifically for them, then personalization works best, especially with prospecting, right? You want to feel that the person who's receiving the message, that it's meant for them. If you start doing a kind of like a one-to-many video to present your business, then you're essentially just doing a commercial and just hoping it sticks. But if you make it about that person, that's why personalization works well. Now, of course, there's also videos that you can use and repeat over and over again. So for example, what Talita actually does, we have a playlist functionality where the first 15 seconds of the video, she'll say, hey, Richards, I understood you have question ABC. Okay, I actually made a playlist with you with mini demos or mini explainers regarding those exact questions. Have a look at those. And that's personal. But then the remaining videos afterwards are pre-recorded videos that have been recorded once, and then you can then use over and over and over again. So that's a combination of how you can go at scale versus personalized.
We have an internal salesperson who is who struggles to record good personalized videos, and so in her case, we have recorded a single generic one that then gets used in her follow-up process.
Yeah.
So I think there are some use cases for doing that, but it definitely loses a lot of impact. So where I think sometimes people prefer to do it once and then just send it out all the time, but it does lose impact when you do that. So the personalization is the way that will have the biggest results.
Yeah, correct. I want to talk then about post sale, right? So we looked at prospecting, standing out, being human, doing something that no one else is doing in your industry. Mid-sale, we talked about how video can be used to shorten sales cycles, move deals along faster, right? And how to humanize also the proposal and contracting phase, right? To close more deals. And then close and post-sale, there's so many use cases, from a collaboration celebration. Thanks so much for putting your trust in us and becoming our client. Next steps are, we're going to do an onboarding with you, right? And humanize, so you continue that talk track when you continue, right? When you move further. Giving quick updates on new products, new features can be a video. Congratulating somebody with raising funds or their birthday or holidays in general. Anything there can become a relationship builder. Again, that you do in a motion of showing your face, where a lot of people are just doing, the same old generic things.
The other thing we have definitely found, the more we do it, the more it becomes like a muscle. You get much more comfortable just to hit record and say what you got to say and then send it. And quite often with clients, but also internally, you find yourself struggling over finding the words and trying to think of how to phrase things, because in a text-based format, you don't have the body language and the tone of voice or whatever. And you can struggle for half an hour to kind of word an email in the right way. And it's quite often so much faster just to hit the record button and talk, say what you want to say, get it across in the right way, and send it. It's a great form of communication to add to what you're already doing.
100%. And I think Katie is asking, do you use a script for your personalization? I'll touch upon that in the last couple of minutes on how to actually make an effective video. Just wanted to touch really quickly on some video and client communications. And there's two examples here. Invitations to webinars or inspiration sessions like this today. I think a lot of you signed up for it through the landing page that Will created. So maybe, Will, I don't know if you want to talk about that. There's also the on-demand training that you do where there's a lot of videos. So maybe you want to talk about how you work with essentially your customers.
Yeah, so I think everyone here should have access to our video library of marketing and sales tutorials and help how to follow up leads, sales tactics, how to get the most out of LinkedIn, loads of tutorials on HubSpot. And so we have now the latest count, there are 48 videos that are on this training hub, and we're aiming to add one every week, so that this is just being built out and built out, so it's a growing resource. And so for your clients, particularly if any element of what you do involves them having access to software tools, or you need them to, you need to educate your customers in any way. Recording videos of that training and then making them available on demand, it is quite often better, because people, when they can, like particularly with software tutorials, you can stop, rewind, play, slow down, etc. So that's really, really helpful for people, where you can't get that in live training. And it reduces the number of customer service queries and questions you get, that if people can find answers and watch tutorials for themselves.
It's a really good point that you mentioned that that's for software, but I know that there are also people here that are in professional services and in manufacturing. And we see that this happens also in those industries. So we have a manufacturer called Spock Automation. It's in oil and gas specific products there. And what they do is they call them 2-minute drives. So essentially those are 2-minute recorded videos, right, behind a webcam, using Vidyard, answering specific questions around the engines, motors, specific industry related questions. And essentially they are creating series of content that's relevant for their customers. And specifically where they found a lot of value is they would create actual tutorials for people to self-serve issues with their machines, which would save them 140K in field service visits, because they could just say, hey, here's a quick video, this is a quick fix, instead of having to fly over, doing the thing, hotels, etc., and doing that for multiple clients. So that can become another thing as well, where you're essentially helping people to find their own answers very easily. And that works in a multitude of industries.
A lot of workshops and factories where people are building things for their clients, and it would be so easy just to record, here's a little update on how your project is going. Let me show you where we're at and what's happening next. That type of thing is great for customer communication.
100%. So last 10 minutes, what I want to do is I want to talk about how to get started, how to use it, and then also give you some resources and ideas of how to actually do this, how to have scripts, and how to make sure that you're ramping up and internalizing that effectively. So first of all, from a tool perspective, okay, I will use JDR Group's website here. We have a tool that works within Chrome. It's also a mobile app as well as a desktop app. We have a free version of it, right? It's a capped version, our free version, but it allows you to test it out. For the people that are already testing it out, obviously we also have paid functionality. We won't get into today those differences. Might be worthwhile at some point to explore it, but the whole idea here is just to show you how easy it is to record a video. So essentially you have 3 options: screen and cam, just the screen, or just the camera. Okay, as you can see, I'll just do the screen and the camera. And you can record anything, okay? Websites, a PDF, a PowerPoint, a presentation, a machine in a factory, whatever it is. And then I think, Katie, you were mentioning, can you use a script? Ideally, ideally, some people, they can just freestyle, right, and talk. But most people, including myself when I started, I've sent maybe close to 15,000 videos, I think, over the past 5 years. That's why I work at Vidyard, I guess. In the beginning, I had a script, but it wasn't a script like, oh, I'm reading word for word, but it was more like bullet points that I would have here, notes, right? In the same way that if you prepare for a presentation internally or externally, you might have some slides, right, that guide you what it is that you're going to say. Same thing here. So you can have a few notes, right, to give you a structure. It says intro, then why you're reaching out, maybe a sentence or two, and you can read it off of there. It's fine if you have a little bit of structure to read off. That's it. So that's what I would recommend, okay, in the beginning. And then when you've done it hundreds of times, then it becomes a muscle, like Will said, right? When you've done it many times, then you can do it naturally. But in the beginning,
you don't really want to worry about if you stumble over words, or you say and ah, or whatever, because it's natural. If you just talk how you would naturally talk to someone.
100%. And that's a lot of the people that say, oh yeah, I don't know if, and we can talk about how to be good on camera, but in the end, one of the things in the pandemic is, of course, a lot of people that were never on camera suddenly were 8 to 10 hours a day on a camera, right? So a lot of us have gotten used to speaking on a camera every day. So what it essentially is and JDR Group, they have a really good training. Some of you have done this around how to become comfortable quickly with using these types of videos. Okay. Beyond that, though, just from a software perspective, it's super easy, right? We click it open, we press start record, okay? I can select the screen, okay, which will then count down 3, 2, 1. And then once it's counted down, that's when the video ends. I press stop here. Actually, because I have a new laptop, I need to, give me 1 second.
Not actually seeing the countdown on screen there, just so you know.
I'm not going to reopen this. So I can't do it right now because I need to set up a preference in the background that will allow me to record. It's a new laptop that I'm using, but it doesn't matter. The idea is we will press start record. It will count down 3, 2, 1. It will record the video. On the bottom right, the timer will start. And once you're done, you just press stop. That's it. That's the whole process. Okay.
And then that button, and also the restart button is one I use a lot. I got that wrong, restart it.
Yeah, so if you got it wrong here on the right, there's a button. If you mess something up for real and you really want to redo it, you just press restart here on the right, and that will allow you to restart the whole motion. The only reason why I'm not doing this right now is because if I set the preferences to allow to record, my whole Chrome is going to shut down, and I don't want to do that for the presentation purposes here. But I can send it on to you. But it's a very easy and straightforward process to record those videos. Okay. Now, in terms of what to do in those videos, 3 steps: build trust and report. It's 4 components. 1, be personal, be real, authentic, be human. It doesn't matter if you have uhs and ums. Smile, be friendly in the same way that all of you are when you meet new clients, existing clients, right? That's very important. 2, plan your message, what we just talked about. Have a script or at least an idea of what it is that you want to say. Don't just go off the top of your head, because then you'll be recording for a long time until you finally have the right way of saying it. And then you're an hour further, and then that's not necessary. Just think it out. Record it once, send it. 3, make it all about them, especially for prospecting. The fault that I see a lot of organizations make is that they go very quickly into pitch mode. Hi, Will, how are you? We're our accountancy firm X. We're the leading in this region. We have clients like ABC, right? Not saying that that's wrong, but what's better is to say like, hey, I'm reaching out to you because I see you're the leader at company A, right? Or you're the HR manager at this, if it's a B2B use case. Typically, we hear that a lot of the accountancy firms, they miss or they lack ABC. That's exactly what we're very good at. Here's a case of a similar company that we help solve this. And because of that, save cost or or reduce the errors, whatever it is. Let's talk. Now, suddenly it's all about them, right? Very important. And then the final one, KISS, keep it short seller or keep it short and sweet, whatever it is. Rule of thumb for any video in general, a maximum of 2 minutes. But for prospecting specifically, anywhere between 45 seconds and 90 seconds is best. Anything you wanted to add to that, Will, before I go into the...
Only that we go over that time limit all the time.
Yeah, which is okay.
Not when we're reaching out or trying to connect with someone that doesn't know us. But, you know, if we're going through a proposal or answering a question, some of the videos can be longer because it's someone that we know and are in talks with.
Yeah, so we just released a new feature, which is called chapters. We recently released it, which essentially allows you longer videos to slice them up, where you say, hey, here's where we talk about this where we talk about that, and here, so you have people that can jump to what's most relevant to them to help with that. The second component is clearly explain how you can help. Use anecdotes, stories, case studies, and make it very visual for somebody to understand why they should consider you, how you're answering their question. And thirdly, close with a strong call to action. Be it book a meeting with me. Do you want me to send you more info? Are you ready to move forward? Whatever it is in the sales process or anywhere, have something that they can take a next step if they would want to. Okay. In the last 3 minutes, how to feel confident on camera. Okay. So first of all, create a studio environment that you love. Okay. And it doesn't have to be a studio, right? I'm still in my 9-month-old daughter's bedroom until she's big enough, and then I'll have to move down. But I'm far away from the noise from everything. So it doesn't have to be super professional, but as long as there is decent light and it's relatively quiet and sound, that's the most important component. Then from there, we want to, from a how to make confident videos is have a script, practice, have a script and practice all the time. Okay. In the beginning, there is a bit of a learning curve. Will can talk a little bit about it. It's the same thing as the first times you and your business did client calls, right? Not prospecting necessarily, but just first meetings with companies, right? it takes a few times until you feel comfortable to talk about your product, your services, uncovering pains, right? Same thing here is there's a learning curve of going through this. But once you've done this a couple times, it becomes a natural muscle. And then because you're getting way more responses, way more opportunities, you're standing out, you're actually driving business results, which will motivate you to continue to do it. I know that Will is probably, I don't know, how many videos have you sent if you had to make an estimation?
I will check. Not 1,500, but a lot. Yeah, a lot. And across the whole team, it probably will be thousands across the whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of being on camera, a lot of people, they look very serious because they're concentrating on what they're saying. So they start the video looking like that. And that's not a great way to start the video. And so I think it's good to try and make eye contact with the lens if you can, and just try and talk as if the person was there, as if they were real life in front of you, because it's not a broadcast that's going out on, it's not the presidential address to the nation. It's a one-to-one message. It's no different to leaving a voicemail or talking to someone one-to-one or seeing them on a Zoom call. So yeah, just talk as if you were talking directly to them.
That's a really good tip. James is asking, does it work with a green screen and background effects? Yeah, that's not Vidyard. So there's other tools that you can then put filters on top of it. We're looking at potentially adding filters of our own sometime soon, but you can use other tools to record with a green screen. For example, Zoom. You can put a Zoom recording, do that, and then just upload that video into Vidyard. And then from there, you can distribute it and see the analytics, who's watching those videos. Okay, Richard definitely will share the deck, and which brings me to the conclusion here. We're up against time. It will give you all the tips that Will and I talked about on how to master the art of selling, right? Be conversational, expressive. A couple resources. If you haven't used Vidyard, get started, right? We have a free tool, you can get started with it. Secondly, we have a video selling certification, so it actually can help you. This is a very basic certification. Ideally, I mean, because JDR Group, they have their own certification, which is much more extensive into where video can be used within an organization. So if this is something that you want to do more with, I definitely recommend you to have a conversation with Will, because there's so much knowledge around this. And then finally, we have a bunch of examples of top sales video examples, so you can get some inspiration around some of these videos.
A great place, the inspirations section. But yeah, I'd recommend everyone to speak to your campaign managers as well, because they can answer questions. Everyone in our team knows Vidyard and works with it, and they can help you with just some of the initial hurdles of getting going.
Absolutely, and we're happy to help from a software perspective. But most importantly, and that's to boil it down to one takeaway: if you're not doing this yet, give it a go. That's the only way. And then once you get a positive response, that will motivate you to do it more. Once you see like, wow, this is helping me actually get more business, stand out, get responses that I never got before, get clients that I have say, wow, what a nice touch. So you're delighting them. Those are the triggers that end up being a thing why you're going to continue to use it as a business. So give it a go. And I know we're up against time, but if there's anybody else that still have any question, I'm happy to answer a final question here or two. Yeah, we'll share this whole deck. So yeah, you'll be able to see the recording, and also. I was
going to say I'll send the recording out after this as well.
Any final questions? I know we're against the hour. Probably we need to jump to the next screen share.
Yeah, exactly. Next Zoom. So anyway, well, listen, thank you everyone for giving up your time to come on. I hope it's been really useful. We've got the inspiration that we're hoping to give you today. And as Yaniv said, just reach out to campaign managers, to me, for any more help with Vidyard, and we can help answer questions, point in the right direction, help you use it for your particular business.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. Really nice to meet you all. I hope you got inspired.
Thanks for coming on, Yaniv. It's been great. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure, as always. Always happy to help. Good luck with starting with video or continuing with video. And if there's anything I can help with, let us know.
Brilliant.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.